mean, I'm not ethnically British. That is true. And they're not wrong. If you're not white and Christian in this country, you're not British, right? They're going back to some kind of like neo-Nazi Aryan race.
What is Britishness? The argument that you keep hearing over and over again is that Britishness is some sort of extension of the 2000s Blairite definition, by which where if an immigrant moves to this country, pays taxes, or doesn't in some cases, they're British. If you live here, you just walk around, you know, go to the shops, go to the dentist, you're a British person. Even if that's the case, even if that is what a British person is, someone who adheres to the British values, the values. What about these mainly Pakistani Muslim rape gangs? Are they adhering to British values? Because there's only one party really that's been talking about wanting to deport them en masse. And they've been attacked as neo-Nazis and fascists and racists. So what does this mean? Does this mean that every party apart from Restore Britain that isn't even technically a party yet, because it hasn't registered with the Electoral Commission as far as I know, does that mean that every one of these parties is way to the left of Tony Blair on immigration? How does this make sense? The Tories have been positioning themselves 1 inch to the right of Labour for such a long time. Did they ever stop to look around and just think, where the fuck are we? What is this landscape? What? I'm to the left of Tony Blair on immigration. Did anyone stop to think, is this where the voters need me to be? Or want me to be? Let's consider for a second the historical stereotype of what Britishness is. What do you all think of? Like village garden, greens, people playing cricket on a Sunday morning, the red phone box, a bobby on the beat, people respecting each other, stiff upper lippedness, going to work, owning a piece of England, your castle. Are any of these images and descriptions synonymous with importing foreigners into these entire communities that are now completely inhabited by foreigners with white people as a minority? And not only that, but having them enact and cover up mass racially motivated rape of white British children. Are these British values? If not, why isn't everyone for getting rid of them? These people shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be acting like this. Being here in this country, in our country, is a privilege. And when you behave like that, the death penalty should be being talked about as one possible option. I think leaving, going back to the nation of origin, is the absolute least that should happen. That's a logical argument. It's a reasonable logical argument that any nation state that wants to preserve its existence should make for itself. And the people that should be making that argument are the ones at the top of government who've been elected there by the people of the country. And now the balance that we're supposed to have, where we have left and right, traditionally it's like the caring people on the left that just want everyone to be nice and kind to each other, and they've got their head in the clouds or up their arse and they don't realise the realities of the situation. We don't live in a fairy tale. You have to be hard and cold and calculated sometimes. This is the real world we live in. It's not a movie. It's not a Disney movie. You can't just race swap all the people. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in real life. So even the right, the people who are supposed to be on the right, they positioned themselves as the right-wing party, Reform. The closer and closer they get to power, the further and further to the left they move. They're almost indistinguishable now from the uniparty blob. They've started coming out and calling Restore Britain racists, neo-Nazis, because they want to define what it means to be a British person. Is it a protected characteristic? Can anyone just call themselves British, even if they have no ties, no historic or family or cultural or ethnic ties, no heritage in Britain at all? Or is it something that actually exists as a tangible fact that you can identify? Well, apparently, according to a lot of reform commentators and supporters, they've completely done a 180 on this. And now, Britishness, what even is it? I don't even know. You got Alex Phillips at Talk TV. She doesn't even know if her sister-in-law's British anymore. Which is a funny example to bring up, because to bring it up, she must know that her sister-in-law isn't actually British. Otherwise, why would she say it? You got Layla Cunningham using the neo-Nazi and racist epithets now towards people who want to talk about how Britishness actually exists. And yet before, she was talking about how she admits that she's not ethnically British.
I mean, I'm not ethnically British, that is true. And they're not wrong. If you're not white and Christian in this country, you're not British, right? They're going back to some kind of like neo-Nazi Aryan race.
She understands the difference. These people are just using inflammatory language now because they're trying to drum up the same hatred that people had against reform, against themselves, just recently. They suffered all of this abuse, and maybe that's why they went soft. They capitulated and gave up. They've appointed, put in their shadow cabinet, a Muslim Home Office minister, Zia Yusuf. Another one. I saw the Lotus Eaters saying that it was, about 7 of the last 8 or 6 of the last 7 have been of foreign extraction. The only exception being Yvette Cooper, who might as well be of foreign extraction when you look at her policies. They've even started to conflate reform. They've even started to conflate what people want to define as British, as a protected characteristic, with deportation policy. As if you're not British, you have to leave. That never for once has been what Rupert Lowe or anyone else associated with Restore Britain in any official capacity has said. I haven't seen that anywhere. They're just fabricating lies to try and defend themselves from an attack from the right-hand side on immigration, a place where they should have been, a place where people of Britain wanted them to plant their flag and then rebuild the nation from. They left that space, and it's open, and Restore Britain have moved right in there, and Reform don't like it. So now they're resorting to the same tactics that the left had, the radical left had, using all of the worst possible names. But as Rupert Lowe's been saying, it's become part of a catchphrase, we don't care.
I do not care.
We don't care. The words have no meaning. Racist has no meaning anymore. It's been overused. You've overplayed your hand. I don't know what you're going to try else, because that's like the worst thing you could throw at somebody. But it's not going to make us cower into submission anymore and just let the country continue to be destroyed. And now we have a leader, someone to rally behind. And change will come. If you'd like to agree with anything I said, then I would appreciate if you hit the like button. I'm asking for the first time. It sounds really cringy. I don't like it. Hit the dislike button if there's something you didn't like. But please tell me what it was you didn't like so I can maybe work on it and improve, because I'm just learning here as I go.